Hello, everybody. So many moons ago, I moved to New York, and I had a loft for a few months on Bleecker Street, if you know New York. And after that, I found a loft that I was there for a couple of years. And I was fortunate to have a grand piano and a set of drums, which allowed me to invite musicians over to jam. And over a short period of time, there seemed to be 3 and maybe 4 people who always seemed to be there. And that was myself, Don Elias, the conga drummer and percussionist, who was my best friend for over 40 years, and Steve Grossman. And occasionally, in fact, more than occasionally, a roommate that was in and out was Jan Hammer, the fellow from what was called then Czechoslovakia. And he went on to have a very wonderful career. I got him the job actually playing with Sarah Vaughan. And I got Don Elias the job of playing with Nina Simone. So it was really a lot of fun. And I got Steve Grossman the job to play with Elvin Jones. So. Anyway, we did a lot of sessions, hours and hours, and I taped. I've got boxes of rehearsals, or not even rehearsals, just jam sessions. And we weren't really concerned about the newer music that was happening at that time that was promulgated by Ornette Coleman, which turned out to be called free jazz or avant-garde. We certainly knew how to do that because anybody can pick up a saxophone and just start blowing into it, and you could be an avant-garde jazz musician. But very often did...
What am I doing? I don't know.
But I got to tell you, very often it didn't sound very good. Yeah. So we weren't so concerned about playing songs, although we knew a lot of songs and we would play them, mostly jazz songs. But most of the time we spent just trying to perfect our time feel, just to keep that beat going, you know. So we would just make up harmonies on the spot and just play for hours. I had a Ewer, I don't know, it's a German wonderful recording machine, 5-inch reel-to-reel machine, and I recorded all the sessions. I got boxes of tapes. And we would play, those tapes would run maybe for an hour and a half, and it would just, you know, roll off, and then I'd flip it over, and we'd record the whole other side. So we spent a lot of time working on this music, and that I feel that it gave us, those of us that were involved in that thing, a very strong sense of time as we went on in our careers. So that was great. Did you want to hear any more at this point?
Talk about how this is like not composed.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we had done a lot of this stuff, and it turned out through my connections that I was able to land us a 15-day tour of Chile, South America. And so prior to going there, I said, you know, we should do some recording so we have, like, you know, people can hear what we sound like, and maybe we can sell some records. Mm-hmm. So we did this recording, and I felt that after we recorded it, we had touched on some things that were fresh, one way to put it. And so I said, Some Shapes to Come. And it was actually, the title was based on, again, going back to Ornette Coleman, his main recording that really blew into the scene jazz-wise was called The Shape of Jazz to Come. And so I said, well, okay, he got that, but this is Some Shapes to Come. And it was more, a lot of it was based on Don Elias's and my love of not only swing music, but Latin music. We had played a lot of Latin jobs together. I worked with Tito Puente and Willie Bobo Patato, and Don worked with a bunch of Latin players. And we also love funk. So this record has elements of all of that in there. And so I decided to call it Some Shapes to Come. Should I tell them the story about that? Yeah.
I'll step back here.
How much time you got? So, yeah, this is a little side story to show you the effect that this record had on quite a few people. You might know the names of Christian McBride, who for me is the greatest bass player alive today, and maybe, I don't know about the best, but certainly one of the top bass players ever. And there was a fellow named Jimmy Garrison, who was the bass player in John Coltrane's group, that major group that John had. And his son is named Matthew Garrison, and is also a bass player. And Don Elias told me this story that one time they had wound up on some festival, and the three of them were having a conversation about this and that, and there was a lull in the conversation. And Christian McBride turns to Matthew Garrison, and he said, "You do know the Bible, do you?" And Matt Garrison shot right back at him. He says, "Yeah, some shapes to come." So anyway, yeah. So about the recording. Those were the days of my and others' experimentation, not only in music, but other substances. Hey, it's what it is, you know, or what it was. Whatever. I just turned 84 yesterday, so there's no more of that. The applause is not for me, it's for my wife who takes care of me. Yeah, Sandy. Anyway, about this recording, so there were some substances that were, I wouldn't call them depressants. I would call them mind-altering enlightenment. And all four of us were in that state when we made this recording. And I think there were 6 songs on the record? Yeah, 3 of them were this one we just played and 2 others that were songs that we knew. But the other 3 songs we just made up right on the spot. And because of our many moons of having these rehearsals together and doing this kind of stuff, they became very melodious. Grossman would play these lines and we would follow him harmonically, and maybe I'd play a different bass note and it would bring the music in a different place. So we just made these up on the spot, and I gave them titles, and that became the album. So.
Thank you.